and forcing the Chinese to buy the Indian opium. And the East India Company doubled its winnings by realizing that as well as taking over India, making the Indians produce textiles for export, they could also take the marginal land, plant the opium poppy, and sell the poppy, the product of the poppy, the opium, to China. They bought with that Chinese tea, which they sold in India, in Europe, and in America. And the Boston Tea Party is East India Company tea being dumped into Boston Harbor. But so many Brits don't know this history. It's not taught in our schools. And there was a disastrous moment about 10 years ago when David Cameron and George Osborne turned up for a diplomatic visit in November to China. And it coincided with our Remembrance Day, when every British politician wears a poppy. So when they arrived in China, they all immediately put on these red poppies, and the Chinese assumed they were taking the piss, that they were insulting their hosts and were trying to remind them about the opium wars, or there was some hidden message in these, and it was a catastrophic failure, not untypically of that era.
Thank you. Shobha, please.
I'd just like to give you an Indian perspective. Right now for us, China, vis-a-vis Sri Lanka, even the Maldives, it's like a sulking, sullen lover, rejected and thrown out by a concubine in some sense. But the Chinese simply can't be trusted. It's as simple as that. No one in the world can trust the Chinese. So I don't know why we are spending so much time, investing so much time in discussing China and Chinese food, when the focus really should be on our relationships in the neighborhood. And I believe they're getting stronger, more positive. We've gone through our traumas. We've gone through, like any marriage, long-standing marriage, there have been turbulence, incompatibilities. But I think right now we're at a stage where a marriage counselor has probably stepped in, and it's looking like a good, solid next few years between Sri Lanka and India. So why don't we focus on that and the empire, and maybe China deserves its own special session.
Thank you.
Perhaps.
Palitha, China can't be trusted.